Hi and welcome to my review of the Cheerson CX10W. This is a Wi-Fi version of their little nano quadcopter that they've done various versions of in the past. It comes with a VGA Wi-Fi camera, so effectively what it does is it becomes a little hotspot which you then log on to on your phone and use the app that you need to download from Google Play or Apple Store or whatever type of phone you're actually using, and you can control and take video and photos etc. from the quad directly onto the phone. The camera doesn't have an SD card slot or anything like that, so it doesn't record on the quad itself, it purely records on the phone. As you may have noticed, the box doesn't contain a controller, so it doesn't come with a controller at all. The phone becomes a controller for you. But the box does come, however, with spare props, so you get a set of props and a charge cable. I've already charged this one up, so it took about 15 minutes on my charger, and we'll see what sort of flight time that will give us. Now, bearing in mind, you do have to turn this on before you can actually get onto the Wi-Fi, onto its Wi-Fi. So however long that takes, you're going to be using up battery all of that time. So obviously what you want to do is get yourself prepared as soon as possible. When you're turning one of these on, make sure you've got your phone handy and it's unlocked, etc. So you cut down the amount of time that it's actually standing there not doing anything. The charge port on this is there, and there's a switch as well, which is quite handy, so you can just switch it on once it's sitting there. There's also an antenna just underneath there which starts there and goes underneath. They recommend that you actually take that out. Let's see if I can get a hold of it. A little bit fiddly. And make sure it's vertical. So obviously when we're putting that down, that will lay to one side, and when it lifts up it'll be more or less vertical. And the camera is just there. Right, I'll just show you the app actually. Let's put that down there for the moment. So find the app, which is the CX10 Wi-Fi app. So I don't know if you can see that. You've got controls for the camera, which is the photos and the video controls. There's a control there which takes you through to any pictures that you've taken on the camera. Let's go back and back, or videos, so you can play any videos that you've taken on there as well. So this is one I did on a test flight earlier on. I'll use BS Play for this. Just like that. That was only a short one. And you've got the gyroscope control, which is this one here. So this uses the phone's own gyroscope to control the direction that the quad, I don't know if you can see that. So you can change the direction of the quadcopter just by moving your phone. Obviously you need to start off on an even plane, making sure that the control is in the centre, and then you control from there onwards. The yaw and the thrust of the quadcopter is controlled manually with the left hand control. The alternative is fixed controls, or manual controls I should say, so you just control the direction, the yaw and the thrust completely manually. This button purely changes display orientation. So if you just want to reverse that, you can do so. This button here does a calibration, so you lay it onto a flat surface as it is there, with it turned on, press that control and you'll do a calibration for it. The last thing I wanted to mention which won't be useful for most of you, is that although you don't get a controller with the phone, with the quad, and you can control it with your phone, it will actually bind with the controller that you get for the CX10C, the camera quad. So if you prefer a more traditional method of controlling the quadcopter, then use a CX10C controller, and I may well do that a little bit later on, because in all honesty, controlling with the phone for me leaves a lot to be desired. You don't get any tactile feedback at all from the phone. I've noticed that the yaw is extremely slow, almost non-existent, with the phone controls as well, but we'll see that in a moment, because I'm going to do a test flight in a moment. Hi and welcome back to my review of the CX10W Wi-Fi FPV quadcopter. I'm going to do a flight test now. I just wanted to point out that although you can control it by the phone, if you happen to have CX10C, the camera version of the quad, it will bind to the controller for the CX10C. I intend doing a little test flight of it afterwards with that. As much as the phone controlling actually works, I have to admit I don't really like it very much. You don't get any kind of feedback from the phone whatsoever, and it does make it quite tricky to control it, and I find it very difficult to get a nice satisfying flight out of it. But we'll give that a go anyway. Now, as I mentioned before, the moment you turn this on, it's transmitting its Wi-Fi signal and its camera signal, etc. And it's using up battery. So to make sure you've got the best flight time possible, set yourself up as far as you can prior to actually turning the quadcopter on. Right, so I'm on my Wi-Fi screen. Quadcopter is going down and being turned on. Then as soon as we get a signal on here, it should pick it up any moment now. There we go. Connect to that. And we're connected. So from here onwards, just select the app. And I'm going to use it in gyroscope mode first of all. Rates, which I think I forgot to tell you about, I've changed to 100%. Going to start my timer going. I think I'll get some footage as well, so I've just turned the video on. Now, I've had a test flight with the gyroscope anyway, so with the gyroscope method of controlling, I should say. So I've had well, it's about 5 minutes practice with it, and with this method you really do need practice, and I've found that if I yaw so that the orientation is facing towards me, I completely lose it. So I'm just keeping it facing away at the moment, just to keep things simple. And again, it's just practice. With a normal controller I'm fine, but with the gyroscopic controls on this, I find it's quite difficult. Let's try a yaw on this. Well, there we go. That's exactly what I was saying, I'll just lose it. So, well, we've tried the gyroscope controls, let's try the manual controls. Do exactly the same. See, this is much better, I prefer it this way. The yaw is very tricky. It's slow anyway, the yaw on this. You can see how slow the yaw is. So you're not going to be doing any aerobatics with this. But it is controllable. Let's bring it in a little bit for a little look. Okay, I'm going to land it again. And let's see if we can get it to bind to this. No, it's already bound to the phone, so I can't get it to bind to the controller. What we can do, however, is just turn it off for a moment. Actually, before I do that, let's just stop the video. Now turn it off. Turn it back on again. There we go. Infinitely more controllable. Let's put it up to 100% rates. Okay, I don't quite know what's happened there. Ah, I wonder if it's picked up and bound to this. Yes, it has. Right, so what I need to do then, I hadn't realised that, I hadn't had my Wi-Fi going on before, is to turn this off. I'll just turn Wi-Fi off for the moment. There we go. 100%. And you can't get this kind of a response using the phone. Right, so let's just turn that around. Really close so you guys can see it. That's your rate. So again, you won't be doing any aerobatics with it, but particularly with the controller, it's a nicely controllable quadcopter, and we have low battery warning, so let's take it in for a landing. And we'll stop this, so that's 4 minutes 56 minus a little bit of mucking about, so let's call it 4.5 minutes flight time for this. Okay, well I hope that's helped you guys out, and thanks for watching.